18, 19. Tickets start at $3,262 per person and it operates on multiple different routes, most notably per Istanbul via Vienna and Budapest. Despite its name, the train runs via Brenner Pass instead of the Simplon Tunnel. Belmond also offers a similarly themed luxury train in Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand, called Eastern and Oriental Express. 20. Sherwood also operated a chain of Orient Express branded luxury hotels, licensed from SNCF, owner of the Orient Express branding. The chain was renamed Belmond in 2014. Humph branding license ended. 21. In 2017, Aka Hotels bought a 50% stake in the Orient Express brand from SNCF, in order to launch a new chain of luxury Orient Express hotels. 22. In 2022, Aka and SNCF announced they would relaunch the Orient Express with a Paris-Istanbul service, which will start in 2025. Another service called Orient Express La Dolce Vita would be launched with 8 different itineraries around Italy. 23. Beginning in 2024. 24. The Orient Express service will be launched in 2025 from Paris to Istanbul, having a stop in Split, Croatia. 25. The train cars on the route will include 17 Venice Simplon Orient Express in The Orient Express, 1992, a novel by Gregor von Rett.
Yes. Sleepy, so click by mistake. Then auto reading stops.
The Circasi terminal in Istanbul. Venice Simplon Orient Express in Poland. In 2007. In 1982, the Venice Simplon Orient Express was established by businessman James Sherwood as a private venture and is currently owned and operated by Belmond. It operates restored 1920s and 1930s carriages and routes around Europe. It also offers connecting service from London to Folkestone on the British Pullman, using similarly restored vintage British Pullman cars. The Venice Simplon Orient Express operates from March to December and is aimed at leisure travelers. 18, 19. Tickets start at $3,262 per person and it operates on multiple different routes, most notably per Istanbul via Vienna and Budapest. Despite its name, the train runs via Brenner Pass instead of the Simplon Tunnel. Belmond also offers a similarly themed luxury train in Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand, called Eastern and Oriental Express. 20. Sherwood also operated a chain of Orient Express branded luxury hotels, licensed from SNCF, owner of the Orient Express branding. The chain was renamed Belmond in 2014. Humph branding license ended. 21. In 2017, Aka Hotels bought a 50% stake in the Orient Express brand from SNCF, in order to launch a new chain of luxury Orient Express hotels. 22. In 2022, Aka and SNCF announced they would relaunch the Orient Express with a Paris-Istanbul service, which will start in 2025. Another service called Orient Express La Dolce Vita would be launched with 8 different itineraries around Italy. 23. Beginning in 2024. 24. The Orient Express service will be launched in 2025 from Paris to Istanbul, having a stop in Split, Croatia. 25. The train cars on the route will include 17 historic carriages from the defunct Nostalgie Istanbul Orient Express, which were discovered by French railway historian Arthur Metetel in 2015 at the Malazurix train station at the Poland-Belarus border. 26. In 2018, the cars were transported to France, for renovation work designed by Maxime Dianjuk. 27, 28, 29, 30. In popular culture, The glamour and rich history of the Orient Express has frequently lent itself to the plot of books and films and as the subject of television documentaries. Literature. Dracula, 1897, by Bram Stoker. While Count Dracula escapes from England to Varna by sea, the group sworn to destroy him travels to Paris and takes the Orient Express, arriving in Varna ahead of him. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, 1925, by Anita Loos, wherein Lolia and her friend Dorothy take a journey on the Oriental Express from Paris to Central Europe. Stamber Train, 1932, by Graham Greene. The short story Have You Got Everything You Want? 1933, by Agatha Christie. Murder on the Orient Express, 1934, one of the most famous works by Agatha Christie, takes place on the Simplon Orient Express, 13. Orient Express, 1934, a novel by Aden Doulard, it takes place in North Macedonia. From Russia, with Love, 1957, a James Bond novel by Ian Fleming, sees Bond travel from Istanbul to Venice aboard the Simplon Orient Express. Travels with My Aunt, 1969, by Graham Greene. Paul Theroux, 1975, devotes a chapter of the Great Railway Bazaar to his journey from Paris to Istanbul on the direct Orient Express. Neither Here Nor There, Travels in Europe, 1991, by Bill Bryson describes riding the train in 1973 when it was a run-down and neglected route. The Orient Express, 1992, a novel by Gregor von Retzoy follows a European-American who, having ridden the original Orient Express in his youth, returns late in life to ride the refurbished version. Flashman and the Tiger, 1999, by George MacDonald Fraser. Harry Paget Flashman travels on the train's first journey as a guest of the journalist Henry Blowitz. The Orient Express appeared in the 2004 novel Lion Boy and its sequel Lion Boy, The Case by Zizou Corda. Charlie Ashanti was stowing away on the train on his way to Venice when he met King Boris of Bulgaria. The short story On the Orient, North by Ray Bradbury. The Orient Express appeared as a technologically advanced, for its time, train in the book Behemoth by Scott Westerfeld. Thea Stilton and the Mystery on the Orient Express by Elizabeth Adami. Madness on the Orient Express is an anthology of horror stories, all connected to the Orient Express edited by James Loder. First Class Murder, 2015, by Robin Stevens from the Murder Most Unladylike series is set on the Orient Express. The Orient Express served as the venue for a chess game described in the 1997 novel The Ljungberg Variation by Paolo Morenzig. Film. Orient Express, 1934, film adaptation of Graham Greene's Stamber Train. Orient Express, 1944, German film about a murder on the train. Sleeping Car to Trieste, 1948, filmed by the Rank Organization, story by Clifford Gray. A stolen diplomatic document is the quest of various groups on the Orient Express from Paris to Trieste. Copyright by Two Cities Films Limited. Orient Express, 1954, whose plot revolves around a two-day stop at a village in the Alps by passengers on the Orient Express. From Russia with Love, 1963 James Bond, along with Bond girl Tatiana Romanova and ally Ali Kerim Bey, tries to travel on the Orient Express from Istanbul to Trieste, but complications involving SPECTRE assassin Red Grant force Bond and Tatiana to jump off the train in Yugoslav Istria. Istanbul Express, 1968 thriller, made for television, starring Gene Barry. Travels with My Aunt, 1972 Henry Pulling accompanies his aunt, Augusta Bertram, on a trip from London to Turkey. The two board the Orient Express in Paris. The train takes them to Turkey, Gautier disembark briefly at the Milan stop. The Agatha Christie novel has been adapted into films in 1974, 2001, and 2017. Romance on the Orient Express, 1985 TV movie with Cheryl Ladd. 102 Dalmatians, 2000. Death, Deceit and Destiny aboard the Orient Express, 2000. Around the World in 80 Days, 2004. Mr. Fogg travels on the train to Istanbul. Orient Express, 2004. Murder Mystery, 2019. In the final scene, Nick and Audrey Spitz are traveling on the Orient Express. Television. Orient Express was a syndicated TV series in the early to mid-1950s. Filmed in Europe, its half-hour dramas featured such stars as Paul Lucas, Jean-Pierre Armont, Geraldine Brooks and Eric von Stroheim. In the Orient Express, episode number 48 of the World of Commander McBragg cartoon series, the commander tells the story of how he once rode on that fabled train, dodging several assassination attempts on his life en route. In the Pink Panther cartoon Pink Finger, the Pink Panther tries to be a secret agent and is almost blown up by a bomb on the Orient Express. WL Agences de Voyages Daylight Robbery on the Orient Express, an episode of the award-winning British comedy television series The Goodies, was first broadcast on the 5th of October, 1976 and is partially set aboard the train. Mystery on the Orient Express, a television special featuring illusionist David Copperfield. During the special, Copperfield rode aboard the train and, at its conclusion, made the dining car seemingly disappear. The Istanbul Train, Il Treno di Istanbul, 1980, Hungarian-Italian television series Stamba Train, original title by Graham Greene, 1932. 31. Minder on the Orient Express, 1985, a special episode of the long-running ITV sitcom Minder. Wicker's world aboard the Orient Express. Travel journalist Alan Wicker joined the inaugural service of the Venice Simplon Orient Express to Venice in 1982, interviewing invited guests and celebrities along the way. Gavin Stamp's Orient Express, in 2007, UK's 5 broadcast and arts/travel series which saw the historian journey from Paris to Istanbul along the old Orient Express route. The 1987 cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had an episode titled Turtles on the Orient Express. As the title suggests, it is primarily based on the train. 32. A 1993 advert for Bisto Fuller Flavor Gravy Granules featured in it with a young couple. The 1995 cartoon Madeline had an episode titled Madeline on the Orient Express, in which a chef stole a snake. The episode Emergence of the science fiction television series Star Trek, The Next Generation partially takes place on a holodeck representation of the Orient Express. On the 15th of May, 2007 broadcast of Jeopardy! The show's theme music Think was played by a person on the train's piano, since the final Jeopardy clue was about the Orient Express. In the British soap opera EastEnders, in 1986, characters Den and Angie Watts spent their honeymoon in the train. Aboard the Orient Express Get Smart Series 1, Episode 13 is set on the Orient Express. In one episode of the British cartoon series Danger Mouse, called Danger Mouse on the Orient Express, a parody of Murder on the Orient Express, Danger Mouse and Penfold travel on the train on the way back to London from Venice. Danger Mouse's archenemy Greenback is also on the train. In an episode of the television series Chuck and Sarah decide to go AWOL and take a trip on the Orient Express. At the end of the Doctor Who episode The Big Bang, the Doctor receives a call for help from the Orient Express in space. This setting is used in the episode Mummy on the Orient Express, including a reference to the ending of The Big Bang, 4 years later. In episode 15 of television series Forever, US TV series, Dr. Henry Morgan traveled from Budapest to Istanbul with his wife Abigail Morgan on his honeymoon in 1955. He performed an appendectomy on a member of the fictional Turkish royalty. The Backyardigans episode Le Master of Disguise features the Orient Express, showing Uniqua Pablo, Austin, Tasha and Tyrone going to Istanbul from Paris. The series Agatha Christie's Poirot, which adapted the entirety of Christie's works featuring Hercule Poirot as played by David Suchet, included an adaptation of Murder on the Orient Express as part of its 2010 episodes. Michael Palin's Around the World in 80 Days, 1988. Michael Palin traveled on the Orient Express in episode 1 from London Victoria to Innsbruck, using a ferry across the English Channel from Folkestone. The train did not continue on to Venice because of a strike on the Italian railways. Music. Alex Ottalei's Horror on the Orient Express is inspired by the call of Cthulhu RPG. The integral symphonic version was released on CD in 2002. A 26-minute suite for concert band was published in 2012. Orient Expressions, a musical group from Turkey who combine traditional Turkish music with elements of electronica, take their name from the train service. The Jean-Michel Jarre album The Concerts in China has a track entitled Orient Express as track 1 off disc 2, though the relation to the train is unknown. A concert band piece, Orient Express, is written by Philip Spark. There was a band based in Hawaii called Liz Damon's Orient Express. Video games. Sources Sad Smiley 33. The role-playing game Call of Cthulhu, 1981, used the train for one of its more famous campaigns, Horror on the Orient Express. The TSR role-playing game Top Secret had a 1983 module based on the train titled Operation Orient Express. Just Games released a murder mystery board game, 1985, called Orient Express using the famous train route as a backdrop for solving murders. The game is based on the novel Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. Heart of China, 1991 computer game, has a final sequence in the Orient Express. An action scene takes place on the roof. In 1994's Season 1 episode of Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego? Called The Gold Old Bad Days, Carmen Sandiego and her VILE gang are given a challenge to do something low-tech by the player robbery. Carmen's goal is the train. The Orient Express plays host to an adventure game by Jordan McNair. The Last Express, 1997 computer game, is a murder mystery game set around the last ride of the Orient Express before its suspended operations at the start of World War I. Robert Cath, an American doctor wanted by French police as he is suspected of the murder of an Irish police officer, becomes involved in a maelstrom of treachery, lies, political conspiracies, personal interests, romance and murder. The game has 30 characters representing a cross-section of European forces at the time. In the game Crash Bandicoot 3, Warped, 1998, for PS1, the third...
Yes, let's just stop. The video splits in half a minute. Let's just stop the video.